Hi Scorpio, and welcome to your weekly tarot reading. So, just before I warn you, the readings have been roller coaster rides, okay? Not every sign. You're my second water reading, and there doesn't seem to be that intense dynamics about you around the water signs. The eclipse is in Capricorn. There's not that much of a relationship between Scorpio and Capricorn, okay? A little bit, but maybe not enough to create some huge drama. Give me a minute to I shuffle the cards. One card before I shuffle the deck for Scorpio, please. Okay, this card is so old. Look, deep knowing card. I get very attached to my cards, okay? So I don't just replace them like they're nothing. And that's why they do such a good job for me. Deep knowing card, third sign to get it. It talks about this beyond logic, knowing about the rightness of something. Very, very Scorpio energy, even though it's the moon cards. Scorpio has this almost very powerful sixth sense around the nature of things, okay? So what is this going on? Tell me what's going on for Scorpio, please. 6 cards, and we'll look at the energies around you for the week ahead. Although so many of your readings have been about the Queen of Wands, this empowering, yeah, becoming this very because Scorpio was once ruled by Mars, and that's why when the Queen of Wands shows up for you, it's not a mistake. It's part of your co-rulership. So 6 cards, please, for the sign of Scorpio. Got the Fool behind you. 10 of Swords as the gift, and I don't read the 10 of Swords as other people do. To understand a card, you need to understand the card that came before it, which is a 9 of Swords. So living in anxiety and fear. The 10 of Swords is how you get the Fool card. It's almost like, well, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm not going there. It might even be that energy. Let's find out what it means. The Challenge is a Star card. Faith. Other people are showing up for you as the 8 of Wands, so there's going to be quite a lot of communication. The Knight of Wands is showing up again, so you have got your Mars is quite strong for you coming through. And then you get 2 cards showing up together, the High Priestess and the Ace of Cups, okay? So the Fool card is, some of yous, this is about new ventures. Whole new chapters. It's a 0, so it's a fresh start. It's the Fool carries no karma, and which means he's not got these constant memories circulating in his head about who did what to who, vice versa. You know, all the stories that keep us very, very bound to keep repeating past stories. So the Fool card's behind you, very, very beautiful, and the gift is the 10 of Swords. So the 10 of Swords is a release from living in a mental prison. Yeah, that's why I don't quite, every reader's different, but the 10 is the ending of a difficult cycle and the beginning of a new one, and it begins again with the Ace, the new beginning, the new start. Very, very beautiful here. The Challenge is the Star card, so maybe sometimes having faith, is a challenge. For some of you, the challenge is transparency, being totally open, sharing your feelings, sharing exactly what's going on for you is the challenge, okay? Why is the Star card a challenge? Because of the King of Cups, yeah? Ooh. So the King of Cups might be a person, or he might be you, okay? So the King of Cups is you. The King of Cups is a challenge, only dips his toe in the water. He keeps himself in his throne, so he keeps himself very protected. And that's why the Star card is a challenge, because the Star, she's naked. And the reason that she's naked, so she's totally open about her feelings, which is your challenge, Scorpio. And it's always a challenge for everyone, okay? But there's a lot of communication coming through. You being open and transparent with this communication might be a little bit of a challenge, okay? Or maybe other people are doing this to you. Let me carry on. So now I love it. I'm really excited about this reading, because underneath the Ten of Swords is the Knight of Wands, okay? So the Knight of Wands comes back to the fire element, and the fire element moves forward based on instinct and knowing, yeah? And it doesn't listen to fear. It doesn't listen to the Nine of Swords and the Eight of Swords and all the endless stories about why something won't work. It just moves. And that is why I love the Ten of Swords with the Knight of Wands. It's sometimes the relationship between dynamics that we really need to look for. So this is about moving forward on a certain impulse and not listening to the voice of fear, which is exactly why what's leading you to the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups can be about new love, okay? Very, very often it is, okay? It can be about the restoration if a relationship's been going through a hard time. It's the eye of the divine shining through your heart. You have no control over this card, by the way. I spend a lot of my week working with the Ace of Cups because it's an overpowering emotional experience, and a lot of people try and control overpowering emotional experiences because of the fear involved, okay? I cannot help feeling there's a little bit of a dynamic going on for some Scorpios here, that opening up to this level of love and transparency is the challenge. Now for some of you, the High Priestess is showing up. She shows up quite a lot with the Deep Knowing card. It can speak of a relationship that's not got off the ground yet, or there's an very, very powerful, almost psychic connection. You know these relationships where you just feel the person, but nothing's quite happened yet? That's the sort of energy of the High Priestess. So for some of you, or this person this is about, she'd be a seer. She'd have an awful lot of depth to her, the High Priestess. What an interesting... Oh, you're my second water sign, and all the water signs readings are very, very powerful. But we're all going to be dealing with the energy of moving beyond fear, because this eclipse is a deconditioning process, and what needs to be deconditioned here is the fear. If I reveal myself, if I'm totally honest in my emotions, that I'll meet with a rejection. Sometimes we do meet with a rejection, especially if the person's not the right person for us, and thank goodness that we do. But often, especially if it's a Deep Knowing card, we don't tend to meet rejection, Scorpio. I think for some of you, the Two of Cups is here as well. For some of you, if it's not a complete relationship reading, the Knight of Wands is calling you to follow an impulse, and we don't find out the why to afterwards. So it could be about a new job lead, And because the Ten of Swords is with it, it's about trusting this lead and not listening to the fear of the Nine of Swords or the Eight of Swords, but moving forward on your passion, following your heart basically, following your heart, taking a deep breath and saying, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I am. And plunging right in, deconditioning yourself from fear and following the impulse of your heart, Scorpio. What an intriguing reading. Honestly, both water signs have been absolutely beautiful. Loads of love. I really, really wish you all the best at opening your heart, trusting if the person rejects you, they're just not the person. And we don't need to close our heart because someone else has closed their, Scorpio, which is what most people do. And it's why a lot of us don't find the love that our soul seeks. Okay? Loads of love, guys. Speak to you next week. Bye.